Hanan Besovic, bekannt durch seine Social-Media-Accounts Couture, hat sich eine Nische als eine der mutigsten und humorvollsten Modekommentatoren der Branche in nur kurzer Zeit geschaffen. Mit einem scharfen Blick für Details, einem tiefen Verständnis der Modegeschichte und einer unverblümten Herangehensweise an Kritik hat er eine treue Fangemeinde von fast 500.000 Followern unter Modefans, Insidern und sogar den Designerinnen, die er rezensiert, gewonnen. Sein Blick auf Haute Couture, berühmte Momente auf dem roten Teppich und Fashion Weeks ist erfrischend offen und verbindet Witz und Einsicht auf eine Weise, die die Branche sowohl unterhält als auch zur Rechenschaft zieht. Hanan sitzt bei jeder Fashion Week von Paris nach Berlin Front Row und wir wollen wissen, wie er sich seine Position in der Modebranche schafft. Willkommen zu einer besonderen Podcast-Folge. Bevor ihr gleich unserem Live-Talk zuhören dürft, hier noch ein kleiner Einblick, wie das Gespräch zustande gekommen ist. Im Rahmen der Berlin Fashion Week gab es ein offizielles Side-Event mit dem Namen Backstage Pass. Tonja Matthew hat die Türen zu ihrem Fotostudio in Berlin geöffnet und sie hat ihre Fotografie mehr als 250 Besucherinnen des Events präsentiert. Begleitend zur Ausstellung fanden Talks mit BranchenexpertInnen statt, die von Modejournalistin und Mentorin Kimiana Hachmann, Ist High, moderiert wurden. Ich habe die Gespräche angefragt, die Fragen konzipiert und die Themen mit unseren Speakern abgesprochen. Alle Gespräche haben wir für euch aufgezeichnet, damit euch auch wirklich keine Brancheninsights entgehen. Denn auch in kurzer Zeit sind wir richtig in die Tiefe gegangen. Die ExpertInnen teilten ihre Erfahrungen und Geschichten, um einen exklusiven Einblick hinter die Kulissen der Modeindustrie zu geben. Ich entlasse euch nun in den Talk, der auf Englisch ist und am 2.2.2025 in Berlin stattgefunden hat. Ich nehme viel Leichtigkeit und vor allem den Denkzettel Support Your Own mit aus dem Gespräch. Ganz viel Spaß beim Zuhören. Final talk for this Backstage Pass Fashion Week event. We have to talk about having no filter when it comes to couture, because since you are on TikTok, I'm definitely having more fun with fashion.
Oh, nice.
Like, you are bringing such a joy and such an outlook on the fashion industry that is like the biggest gatekeeping industry out there. And we have to talk about how you find your lightness and how you make a business out of this. And maybe you pick up on this and you introduce yourself, how you ended up in fashion, and why this journey is yours.
First of all, thank you for having me. Thank you for everybody for coming. So I made I Deserve Couture in literally when COVID started. I used to work in a hotel. And I came home, I was furloughed from my job as like 70% of the hotel was. And I came home and I talked to my husband and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I cannot go out. I want to work. And my husband's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I want to talk about fashion. He was like, well, talk about fashion. So I took my phone. I started reviewing shows. I started like talking about it a little more in depth, criticizing it a little bit more. Saying what I would do different. It was just like, I don't know, it came natural. I'm great at complaining. So that kind of helped a lot. So it just kind of like, it started as like a little like me doing something that I really like, and then it escalated to something bigger. But I think that that's what's missing with fashion.
Yeah, you're very sharp and you're very honest. And for me, I cannot believe that you're coming from another industry, because the knowledge you have about fashion is just mind-blowing. Okay. Like, where's your expertise coming from? Like, where are you studying it? Like, why are you so into the collection?
Well, I was, when I was working in a hotel, so I grew up in Croatia and I worked in a hotel. And that was like in 2010. That was the first fashion show that I saw. They made a mistake of putting me as a night audit. So I was working there at night. So it was just me and a computer. And the only thing that I would do is watch fashion shows. So there was a lot of unpleasant and unhappy guests, but there was one happy worker there. But that was my kind of like introduction to fashion, just because it was interesting to see. The first show I ever saw was McQueen's Plato's Atlantis. Just because Lady Gaga said, hey, my new song is coming out and it's going to be at the finale at McQueen's Plato's Atlantis. At that time, I did not know what McQueen is. I'm like, I don't know who this man is. Gaga told me to listen to this. I'm listening to my mom. let's go. So kind of like the site crashed completely. And then when I finally saw the show, I was not that interested in a song as I was interested in like what I'm seeing. And then I started Googling about McQueen, about like the Horn of Plenty, and like that kind of like um started my love for fashion. And then I was every name that I could find, I was like Googling it. I'm like, Marc Jacobs, find it. He's in Louis Vuitton. What is Louis Vuitton? This is Louis Vuitton. Who founded Louis Vuitton? Da 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 da. Who owns Louis Vuitton? Bernard Arnault. Da, da, da. So it was just like you find a name, you research it. It's like basically creating a puzzle.
So nice. Like,
And yeah,
do you think it takes a lot of knowledge to be a critic or to be like a commentator?
yes and no. I think like the commentators are kind of like the newer people in the fashion scene and I find it you have commentators that kind of like really enjoy fashion. You have commentators that are just gonna talk about like if they like a look or not, which is perfectly fine. I like to dig deep a little bit more.
You have,
I can always say like it's a nice dress.
yeah,
Okay, cool. Like, tell me what is behind the dress. Tell me what
exactly.
inspired the dress. Tell me the embroidery. Tell me who designed it. Who's the pattern maker? Those are the stuff that I want to know. If somebody wants to say that's a nice dress, my God, all power to them. It's not me.
So where do you take the confidence from? Because coming from the fashion industry, it's always super important to get like a briefing about what to say and what not to
Yeah.
say. And even as a journalist, I'm super
Yeah.
limited in being free or outspoken when I don't like something, because then maybe you lose them as an advertiser for
Yeah.
your magazine. So as a journalist, I question a lot more, should I say that or not? And
Sure.
you're going viral with it.
Yeah, I think like for me, I think that's the main difference. I mean, like I don't expect right now. I don't expect journalists to be critical because I understand the business a little more. I hate to say it, but it is. You cannot bite the hand that feeds you, pretty much. And I completely get that. I think that's why social media kind of has a great time with us commentators because we're like, I don't like this. I don't think that it fits with the history and the brand itself. But I think for me, it's like the reason why it's different is because fashion industry thinks that they can ban me from a show. I've been banned a couple of times. I know a couple of brands that there's no way that I can go to the show, and I'm fine with that. But they are not taking anything away from me. I'm still gonna see the show. If you put it on YouTube, do you know who has Wi-Fi access? I do. If you put it on YouTube, you know who has a keyboard? I do. So it's just these little fingers finding, you're not taking anything away from me. I'm still gonna see it and I'm still gonna judge it. I don't have to be there. But the thing is that a lot of people find it like a badge of honor to be there. I'm fine if I'm there. I'm fine if I'm not. Is it nice to be at the show? 100% yes. But am I going to die if I don't go to the show? I survived war in Croatia. I think I'll be fine. So, so yeah, it's very much it's the politics of fashion. I think that people don't understand how shady this business is.
When it comes to front row
Extremely.
seats.
Oh, when it comes to everything, when it comes to like friendships, you see, pay attention to your influencers. Pay attention to the people that they hang out with. I'm posting my friend who's from Canada who works in a company who sells windows because that's my real friend. That's
Yeah.
my true friend. A lot of these influencers are posting their best friends who are PRs.
So what's your take on industry friends?
No, you can definitely have industry friends, but a lot of these people, it's a lot of fake friendships also. So I'm like, I'd rather not surround myself with that. I'd rather be with my friend who, he works in a window company. My best friends work in a marina. One of them works in a in a hospital. It's like when I come to Croatia, those are the people that I'm like hanging out with. Do I have influencer friends? My God, yes. But I'm not gonna be posting videos of like me with famous celebrity just be, oh my God, look at my best friend. I'm like, they don't know you. You're there because you asked for a picture. I mean, like, am I right?
Yes.
So
So
I love that you laughed, by the way. That is so funny. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But that's the thing, it's this a lot of a social climbing and so in fashion industry. And I'm like, I
Yeah,
can't.
I think there's super nice takeaways that you're giving us. And I really love the thought that no one's taking something from you. You
Yeah.
still have access to the industry. And that is what the digitalization made
Yeah.
fashion super democratic.
Sure.
And that is how you still can remain having fun with it, because you're just bringing your spark into this industry the way you feel the most authentic. And it's kind of paying off because it became a job for you. Maybe you can show us a bit your roadmap from where it was just a video during COVID and now being on fashion weeks and wanting to, I wanted you so bad on this couch. So where's this coming from?
No, well, it literally started as a hobby and then it became a job. But there's I have some morals at the end of the day. Do I make a living out of this? Yes, I do. I came to Berlin Fashion Week to support these younger designers because this is not my first time that I'm like doing that. And if somebody else invites me, I love supporting these younger designers. The thing that pisses me off is, I sound so angry. The thing that pisses me off, I'm going to talk about like Berlin Fashion Week because we're here. Germans piss me off. I know it's a room full of Germans, because
Tell me.
if I was German, I would definitely support German Fashion Week. Mm-hmm. I think it's not the question of patriotism; it is a question of somebody. Talk to the people in influencers and stuff like that. They will always find it difficult to start. A lot of people want to start being an influencer, starting a career. They will never find support from their friends.
Yes.
And that's so sad.
Oh, are you picturing the German culture?
No, not just no. This is just in general. They will not find support from their friends, and that is extremely sad. When they make it big, that's when these friends are gonna come around. When it comes to Berlin Fashion Week, I'm witnessing really really good collections. Yesterday you had, if not one of the best collections that I've seen in Berlin Fashion Week, Lou de Bertolli and Heiderlamp had great collections here. And it's like, support your own. Because whenever I come to the Berlin Fashion Week, I get 2 messages and they're like, why are you doing Berlin Fashion Week? I'm like, have you ever been to Berlin Fashion Week? They're like, no. And I'm like, well, you kind of cannot judge it then. It's like me going to Paris Fashion Week, just being like, this is awful. Nobody should be here. Have you been? No. It doesn't, the math is not mathing.
Yeah, no, totally right.
So when it comes to like making this a job, this is the best job in the world. I could not imagine doing anything else. If somebody was going to pay me to take care of my dog for the rest of my life, that's a better job. But this job that I have is the best thing that I can imagine. I do have like morals. There's brands that I've been offered to work with that I declined because I don't like what they stand for. But I'm happy to show people that there is a little more than just clothes. Even when couture happens, I love the story behind it. Now I'm like super obsessed with Indian designers because, there's, French designers are like, oh yeah, we were inspired by women. I'm like, for women's wear collection, you were inspired by women? I would never guess that.
I know who you're referencing.
Yeah,
I know
it doesn't make any sense. And they're like, we were inspired by a woman's form. Wow. Meanwhile, Indian designers, you have Rahul Mishra, who's like trying to capture the essence of aura in a couture. They're talking about pollution. They're talking about like personal life. I'm like, these are the stories that I really like enjoy, and I will take all the time in the world to uplift that and talk about it, if I'm paid or if I'm not paid. 98% of my content is not paid, but I still like it. I'm still gonna do it. But it's it's just the fact that like I like what I do, and I like to see fashioning in the best possible way.
And that's what your name says about couture, and that's where also fashion is coming from, and you're just going back there, but trying to find couture in all the collections, which is mainly why they are walking. Like, they are designed, they are handmade, they are telling a story.
It's a craft. It's like, it's something that's dying, and it's kind of sad. It's about like India, for example. Like, I can, what they do very smartly is the fact that they teach their young kids how to embroider, how to keep the craft going. It is very interesting. In France, I don't know how much, some of them are doing. I cannot be unfair and say that they're not. But India is very much based on craft, and that's beautiful to see.
Do you think your content is changing the storytelling for other areas in fashion, like for journalists, for example?
I think that my content changes somebody's perspective of a collection. I think when you have a story and somebody says it, like all of us get show notes. Some of them just copy the show notes, but like, I like to tell it as a story. You have a couple of commentators that are actually doing a great job. But I think it is more than just like it's just clothes. For
Yeah.
me at least.
How to be different on the market today?
Oh, that's a tough question. You should ask somebody who's different. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I think like to become different, I think you have to be authentic. I think if you're trying to push something, people are going to recognize. People are not dumb. People are very smart. They're going to see if something is coming off forced. And that's what I don't follow. I mean, this is going to sound shady as hell, but I don't follow typical influencer because
What's a
they're
typical influencer for
like
you?
typical influencer for me is somebody who just like shows product.
Mm.
Because that's not for me. Maybe there's a plethora of people that works for that that love that person, that love that type of influencer. It's not for me because I cannot learn anything from it, and I'm here to learn. I'm not here to be like, ooh, cute. Is it a nice bag? It's a nice bag,
Yeah.
but there's a lot more to it.
What was your first platform, TikTok or Instagram? And
Instagram,
Instagram.
yeah,
So
Instagram,
you already did the green screen, which is very TikToky, I have to
yeah.
say. But you did it on Instagram, and you were growing in a very short time, really
Yeah.
big, right?
Yeah, the thing that that helped me my account were memes.
Yeah.
Because I started with memes and because I saw that nobody's doing them. And it was just like fashion memes that like people that follow fashion are going to understand. And a couple of people would share them and then like it just got bigger. But after that, I'm like, okay, like there's more to it. I want to review shows, I want to talk about shows, I want to talk about different stuff. Now I cannot remember the last time that I made a meme. But it's just because I find this a little more
Or
interesting.
maybe because you have much more workload now.
That also, yeah,
Like,
I'm
what's
trying.
your daily business like? How you get up? What are you doing? What's the first thing you're doing? How do you
Oh,
get inspiration?
oh, first thing that I do, I try to get as much sleep as I can. I love to
I'm
sleep.
down for that too.
I love to sleep. So I wake up around like 9 or 10 a.m., which is great. And then I have a coffee with my husband and play with my dog just a little bit. And then I sit down and the first thing that I do, I check Instagram and Twitter. I'm not calling it X. There is no way. Especially not now. I'm calling it to Twitter still. So I check Twitter, I check Instagram, I check my emails, and the inspiration just comes. I see something that I'm interested in and I research it. If there's like more stuff that I need to research, I have my books there. I have internet. I'm like, it's stuff like that. Couture is Couture Week is a difficult
It's
one.
deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couture Week is a difficult one because the first day of Couture, I'm going to wake up and I already know the Schiaparelli happened, and I know that the pictures are not out because they take 72 hours to upload those damn pictures. And then like all the shows are happening, so I have to like get the pictures. I have to get the press releases. Thank God I'm like in this position right now where they send me the press releases. Before it was me on stories just being like, does anybody have your press release? And then people would send them. But like now, that's a part of the job that is a little
I
bit
think as
easier.
a background information, it's important to get the press release because otherwise you
Yeah.
have no rights to use the pictures, and so you
Yeah.
have a problem
Yeah.
in rights of pictures. I mean, every country is different on these things, but in total, you're safer when you get it from the press,
Brilliant.
so you can use it.
Yeah, Trump. Trump. So, but I like the reason why I like press releases is because I cannot make up something about the collection. I don't want to do that. I don't want to like create like false stories about a collection. I want to tell what the designer wanted to do and compare it with what has been presented. I cannot be like, oh yeah, he's wearing black. Oh, he's definitely in mourning. I'm like, no, I'm fine. Everybody's good. It's like it's kind of like made up scenarios that I'm like that I can't do. But I like to get a press release because I know what the mission is, and then I see if the mission is accomplished, in my opinion, at least.
What's your favorite collections at the moment? Like, where do you want to dive deep, and where do you know, okay, I'm doing this for the clicks, but I'm anyway having my distance to the brand?
I mean, Maria Grazia and Dior is like, that's my baby. I love her because she gave me some of the best fashion moments. Because people really don't like her stuff at Dior. So when I make a video about that, people really appreciate it because I'm sharing my opinion. But now when she leaves, I'm gonna have to find a different route. But I think that like for me, what's really good always is like, I think like Schiaparelli is great. Tom Brown I love.
Yeah.
There's like a couple of designers that are like just good and they never go wrong.
If you could choose one of the fashion weeks, which one would you choose to attend for the rest of your life?
Oof. Milan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Milan has a great, I think between two of them. Okay, is there any Parisians here? No.
Yeah, me.
So you? Okay. Milan, because I don't know, I like quality. Paris is the gag of Fashion Week. I get that. There's a lot of hype, but Milan
It's
is
also
like,
the city, like it's the whole vibe it is, but
it really is.
in
But
terms
Milan
of
is like,
fashion,
women in Milan are so stylish, no matter the age. And I love seeing that. It's a woman in a Gucci suit on a bike. And I'm like, that is so cool.
That's cool.
But
But
they
you have this in Paris too.
you do, but like, I don't know, like the Milanese women just like I don't know, they're just stylish and they're just like charming, which I find super, super cool. But like Milan for me has great, great brands. Back in like the 80s, there was a fight of who's going to become a fashion capital between Paris or Milan. But eventually Paris won, but Milan was very close because Milan had something that Paris did not have, and that was the production factor. Everything, still the best qualities like in Italy and stuff. So Milan had like great designers at the end of the 80s. It was like Versace, it was Armani and stuff. But then counter to that, you had Jean-Paul Gaultier in Paris. You had Mugler in Paris. You had Alaya in Paris. So I like all of these fashion weeks. I mean, Milan and Paris for me are favorite, of course, but Milan kind of steals the show.
There we go. Let's quickly check on your outfits. Like you're wearing lots of jewelry. Can you maybe
what jewelry? No.
Lots of rings.
So yeah,
I can see a lot of bling bling around. Have you always been like? Was this always your style, or have you been on a style journey? Is it now supporting your reputation on being a haute couture commentator or fashion commentator, or is that you since forever?
No, this is so the thing about jewelry is that when I was in Croatia, I wanted to wear rings, and my mom thought that it's gay. And she was right. No, I'm kidding. My mom thought that it's gay, and she would not allow me to wear rings. So then I moved to America, and I was like in Colorado Springs, and I'm like, how many fingers do I have? And I started stacking them, and since then I did not stop. For me, it's kind of like it's a sound of liberation, because like I could not do this all my life, and now I'm like a Christmas tree, and I'm fully aware of that. It's fine, but I'm hearing from people at the Fashion Week, they're like, when somebody wears too many rings, they're like, you're doing an I deserve couture. So officially, I'm becoming a verb. So, but yeah, I don't know. Jewelry for me is like something that I'm like really obsessed with, and like the bigger the jewelry, the better. People in my building where I live, they're like, I have one neighbor that she's 85. I live in a building, there's a lot of older women. They're like in their 80s and 90s. And it's the best thing ever because there's never a noise complaint. But the thing is that whenever she sees me, she's like, when you die, can I have that ring? Literally. And I'm like, you're 86. Let's do the math here. But
so
no,
who's getting them?
Yeah,
then?
well, you know what? No one yet. Not her.
And the rest of your outfit, like when you go to haute couture shows, and it's quite a budget wearing haute couture, it's quite a budget wearing luxury fashion. And was it always important for you to keep up with that, or are you having your uniform? Like, how are you styling to go to the shows?
What people don't understand is that like none of these clothes are ours. I mean, what you see right now, this is all GmbH. This is AZ Factory. I'm returning this. So like whenever you see that, like people at the fashion week, kind of like changing outfits, those outfits are coming back to the brand in like 3 days.
Yes.
So like whenever you see them, it's not their clothes. Um, the coat is mine though. I like the coat. But it's a lot of I don't know. My policy for Fashion Week is one outfit per day.
One outfit per
I
day.
can't change that. I can't.
I feel that's
It's
quite
stressful.
something already.
I swear to God, there was one time, and I made that decision, one outfit per day. I made the decision after doing 4 outfits in one day. I ended up going to a restaurant and changing in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And like the bathroom was like this big. And I'm like hitting the wall and kind of like, and I'm like, it's not cute.
It's not fun.
So it's really not fun. So I'm like, I'll do one outfit per day. That's it.
Yeah.
And since then I do it. I'm like, I'm not there to be taking pictures of me. I'm there to see the show.
I think
if somebody takes a picture, good for them.
Super important to understand why are you there, who are you
Correct.
there for.
Correct.
And that's especially something bloggers or influencers do, to
Yeah.
have their different shots and to really get a lot of content, or to have collaborations. But if you're talking about them, commentating on them, you don't have to take the extra mile.
Exactly. Well, the reason whenever I talk about influencers, I'm a different. This is going to sound so pretentious. I'm a different type of an influencer because a typical influencer, their main focus is them, and then they're at the show. So the show is, a supporting role. For me, the show is the main role, and I'm the supporting character because I'm at the show.
It's liberating.
I prefer it that way.
Yeah, I like it too.
I can't do the whole posing and everything. I'm like, when my friends are like, go pose, and I'm like, it's not me. It's not me. I just like get uncomfortable.
So where do you see the fashion critics heading in the next years?
I think like publications and I think it's always going to be around. I think it's always going to be around. I think it's just going to be a little more difficult to judge it properly. Um, I don't think that you can be honest if you work in a publication.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work like that. But I know what I'm gonna do. I mean, like I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I hope that that all the other fashion critics are like, that they also have a plan because it is becoming more and more difficult. The more money is involved, it's becoming more difficult. And now fashion has become like such a big business that
The industry is huge.
huge.
But it's kind of sad that the money part is always limiting in terms of how free and open you can speak
Yeah,
about a product in the end.
but it's also like look, everything that I say is a form of promotion.
Absolutely.
If I say a nice thing or bad, that doesn't mean that everybody is going to agree with me. I don't expect them to agree with me. But at the end of the day, they are going to see a bag that I'm talking about, and they're going to be like, "That's a cute bag." So, but I don't think that I'm mean about my stuff. I would
it's
never
like-
say that somebody's collection is trash. Never. I feel that's so disrespectful. At the end of the day, I don't have to like the collection, but it's somebody's vision. And
Yeah, I mean, there's always a twist. There's expertise. There is
Correct.
like knowledge that you're sharing, and then you just put it in a way that is maybe a bit more outgoing than people are used to it online, because there have always been fashion critics, but I think they were gone for a long time.
Yeah.
Like there were like, I don't know, there were no big names I could drop from the last years before the TikTok critics was starting again, that you really wanted them to have them and to speak about your collection, even when it's critics, because it's still going viral and it's
Correct.
still like giving you outreach and even like a fun twist when someone is talking about your collection in that way. I think designers are starting to enjoy it too.
Yeah, I mean, like you still have like Susie and Kathy and Vanessa, and I respect all of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, my God, if there wasn't for them, none of us would have a job. But the times are changing, and it's just a different form now. People like to see someone talk about it. People like to see a face. People like to see what the person has to say.
The personality behind it. to give-
Yeah, correct. For me, it helps that I'm like, I'm somewhat funny. So like I like to put like a little bit of humor into it. Never mean, I think, I hope. But when the bad collection happens, it's a lot easier because the jokes just write themselves. Honestly, I'm sorry. They do.
There, it's delivered.
Yeah, it's easy. But I don't think that I'm being mean about stuff.
Is there a change you would like to see in the fashion industry as you got to know it now in a short time?
I wish that the networking was not 70% of the job.
The socializing. Yeah.
I mean, people are making it based on zero talent.
Yeah.
On zero talent. I'm not putting myself. I'm not being like, oh my God, I'm the most talented person. No. I see people. It's sad because it is not how talented you are, and this is like primarily designers. It is not how talented you are. It is who you know, and that's so messed up. You can be the most. I sound like Lady Gaga. You could be the most talented person in the room, and it doesn't mean anything. You could be Azzedine Alaya in the room of Philip Lines.
Yeah.
And Philip Line is going to get the job, and you're not. And that sucks. And that's the name of the game right now. Networking is 70% of the job.
That's a nice picture. Not a nice, like it's a good explained picture, but it's also a tough one, but it explains the situation like, pretty good.
It's a reality thing.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Whenever I talk to students, I'm like, network. You have to network.
There's no way.
There is no way.
And network is not just like an event and saying hi. It's like keeping in touch.
Keeping up
like
everything.
It's forever
like,
thing.
Happy New Year, happy anniversary and stuff like. I'm like, how the hell do you know when it's his anniversary? I'm like, but it's
What's your dog's name?
Ziggy. Oh. Yeah. When is his birthday?
Yeah.
But it's very much that, and it's sad to see that. Because I don't know.
It's so much pressure far from the job.
Oh yeah.
Like in terms of you're not like having the social battery super high, like Correct. It's super draining, but you're still super talented maybe, and then you cannot compete.
Yeah, that's I mean like, like you have to go to these dinners, you have to go to these events. And I'm very, I try to stay away from fashion if I don't. I like my little bubble of people that I trust. I like people that are not into fashion also. I think that they keep me like normal and grounded. So but I come from very humble beginnings. My parents did not have a lot of money. I went to a private school because my mom borrowed money for it. I worked my ass off. Censor that if you have to.
We don't.
Okay, good. I worked my ass off because I worked in a hotel. I had to give back to my parents. I would pay half of the bills. 80% of my paycheck would go to my parents. So I always see that, as like something that like, remember always where you're from. That's the thing for me. I don't have to have the latest bag. I'm fine.
That's a nice.
I survived without a Gucci bag all my life. So
super nice.
So yeah.
So do you have any advice for people out there who would like to do the same and be as outgoing as you on how to create the videos? Do you have like some tips how to become a fashion commentator?
I think like if you have an interesting point of view, even if it's a different point of view, do it.
Dare to share.
You know what? The thing is like, don't do it if it's a job, if you don't want to do it. If you really want to do it, if you really want to talk about fashion, if you really love fashion, give it a try. Is it an easy job? No. But by the same token, is there jobs that are 1,700 times more difficult? People are digging gold mines in Africa. And, I cannot talk about like how difficult the job is. Compared to everything else, I have the best job ever. But it's not as, it's not like, I thought that before I started this, I'm like, influencers. I'm like, they just post a picture, they're fine. And now
you were one of them.
I was one of those people. Now I'm on the opposite side. Now I'm like, you have to like, emails and stuff like that, and planning and flights and this and that, and then clothes and this, and like you want to make everybody happy. So again, it's like creating a puzzle. But again, it's literally the best thing ever. So I'm like super happy with it. I have my husband, I have my dog. As long as I have two of them, I am the happiest man alive.
I think that's a super nice energy. I think
if anybody has a video of that, send it to my husband. Just saying.
I think we could not end this panel talk or this talk and event we had here better with this energy and your insights from the fashion industry. There's just one little sentence you have to finish for me. In a world where you can be everything, I am.
I wanted to say gay, but that's not it. In a world that I could be everything, I'm happy.
Nice.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are there maybe we take 2 questions and then you have to rush to the fashion show?
If anybody wants to ask a question,
Yeah.
you're more than welcome to. Come on, Germans.
No one?
Don't be shy.
Because then you can go to your fashion.
Oh, there we go. We have.
There, yeah.
Oh, we have 2 of them. There's
Yeah.
a hand there, and go for it. Hi.
I wanted to ask you, what is an actual real advice if you want to start off as with examples students from other, not in the fashion industry? So what would be the first step if you have
To start designing? In general, pay attention to the people around you. See how they're doing. See what they're doing, and also explore it. You know, I think like the best way to get into an industry, you know, when people say like learn from somebody else's mistakes, that's it. You know, whenever I see an influencer, for example, like get into like a bad kind of like press or a bad situation, I always pay attention to see how they're handling it and the way that I would do it, and then you compare it. If you want to be a part of an industry, you have to know about the industry. Don't go like head through the wall and just be like, everything's going to do it. Everything's going to be great because no, this industry does not care about anybody or me or Nicolas Jesquier. Like there's a million Nicolas Jesquiers out there. There's millions of me. What people don't understand is that everybody in fashion is replaceable. Nobody's so special. Are there talented people? My God, yes. But do you know how many talented people are out there that are not discovered yet? Millions. So figure out what you want to do and then pay attention to everything about that. That's it. You had a question. I saw your hand.
I wanted to ask you, I feel like in the fashion industry, when we talk in this kind of situations about fashion, we only talk about the shows, designing, and maybe influencer marketing because somehow they were lucky enough to get inside.
Yeah.
But the fashion industry is so much more, and sometimes you have to do other jobs just to support, be part of this. You have to work in retail, and
Yeah.
retail is so probably super hated, but that's where you can actually make a career and make money. But I wanted to know what you think about retail in general today.
I don't think about it that much. I have to be honest. I'd rather be honest with you than be like, oh my God, it's a tough job. It's a very tough job. But it is all about I think when it comes to retail, it's not I think you have to love the job that you do. If you love the brand, you're going to have a passion for a brand. You know, like for example, me, I rarely go into luxury stores for a couple of reasons. I hate the line outside. I think that's disgusting. Me personally, I hate that. I understand why the line is there, but if it's -4 outside and I have to wait to see a Louis Vuitton bag for 25 minutes outside being cold, that's not a luxury experience for me. I'm sorry. On top of it all, I don't go into stores because a lot of sales associate are extremely rude. And I don't want to, I don't want to get pissed off. I never go to a Hermes store because I know that they're like so rude. A lot of them are rude. So I try to stay away. That's why I cannot give you a proper opinion about retail industry in general.
That's the point. I
Yeah.
think like the disconnection between the whole industry is just so there when you are in a store
Yeah.
level, they have no idea of the existence of this.
Correct.
Everything that we talk about, but the industry in itself, it feeds out everything from each
Yeah.
other.
They're going to
This
base them.
omnichannel.
Correct. It really is. They're going to like base themselves on people that they deem important. Meanwhile, everybody's buying bags. I think that you have to give everyone the same respect and the same amount of attention. You're spending $4,000 on a bag. You better make me feel special. I'm sorry. But that's why I'm like, when it comes to retail industry, I know a couple of people that work in retail, and they're like, this is such a messed up job. It's a mess. It's a difficult job. And then I think like that they're not getting the credit that they deserve. But you also have, who also doesn't get credit in fashion industries, like the Atelier, for example. We think like, oh, Alessandro Michele made a great collection. We make it sound like he was there stitching. No, he wasn't. There's like 100 people in the Valentino Atelier that were like losing their eyes trying to pin a dress. So there's a lot of like underestimated parts of fashion industry. I always say the fashion industry is an industry that is built on ego, because ego in this is like the main currency. So when it comes to retail, I cannot give you a proper answer. But because I try to stay away from it, me personally.
Yeah, I think that's a nice point with that there are so many people always in the background that no one sees.
Oh, yeah.
That we also try to give a speech or presence or
interns also, like
I kind of liked it when Chanel was like putting their workers out there.
No,
when there was no designer and it was like their collection.
Correct. But like you have who would do that a lot. Pier Paolo and Valentino would bring his whole atelier out there. Jacques Mus did it for the Lavender show.
Yeah.
You have a couple of designers that like have this team of people that have been there for 50 years. And they know the brand so well. They know the brand to a T. They know a brand better than the designer does. Which is very interesting.
Yeah. And also doing all the time, not when there's just no designer and then you give them the credits and then the designer is back and then the stage is gone.
So like for me, it's like, atelier is like such an important part, but retail is even more important. Go for it. Yeah, of course.
So what about being from Croatia? I'm from Slovenia myself.
Oh, hi.
Do you think it was more difficult or easier to participate in the networking, join this community, Milan or in Paris?
Let's just put it this way. I would never start this if I was in Croatia, because I would be very scared of what my friends are going to say. When I went to America, I was like, there is no one here. No one knows me. And the good thing about internet is that you find your own community. You find the people that share the same passion with you. And that's beautiful. So if I was in Croatia, I would be like, my friend said that the video is stupid. And then that would make me feel awful. And then I would stop doing videos. Here in Florida, I don't talk to anybody. There's no one that I can talk to about fashion, and that's great. So I talk to people that are on my social media, and they appreciate it. So I think like if you want to do something, do it. It's so much easier said than done, to be honest. But at some point you have to like not care. Like just turn off that emotion and just be like, I'm doing this for myself because I feel great about it. And just do it. Hi.
So I wonder, you have an amazing career and doing an amazing job. I just wonder always, what would be maybe a goal for yourself that you want to reach? Like, is there something that, because from someone's perspective that is not there yet, it might be like, oh my God, when I'm there, like what you said before, like, oh, it will be so nice and it will be so cool. But then when you're actually there, like how do you feel and what are maybe goals that you still have, and or I'm just happy, really happy in the current situation?
I am happy in this current situation because it's something that I like doing. I don't like setting like a goal that I could see myself doing in future is something with jewelry. Like making my own brand, but that is like so far ahead. I don't like to create goals because I hate disappointment. And I'm scared of the disappointment. So if something does not work, I get very easily disappointed. So I'd rather not think about it. I'm like, whatever comes, I'm going to take it. I'm going to be happy with it. You have your priorities, you're fine. But goals wise, I don't know. It's not something that I think about. I'm like, it's one day at a time. And I think if I put like too many goals on my head, I'm just going to be thinking about that. I'm not going to enjoy it. It's just going to be like run. For me, always, my goal is always to grow my platform as much as I can. So, if it means staying up till 4 a.m. recording videos, then stay up till 4 a.m. and record videos. If you're motivated, you're going to find a way. Thank God we have 2 rooms in our house, because my husband like sleeps in one room and I'm in the other one with a microphone at 4 a.m. So I don't wake him up. But if you do have motivation for it, you'll find a way. I think, at least. Plus, it's difficult. I have to say this. It is very difficult to do this when you have another job. Because, like, if I was working from 9 to 5 and come home and talk about Schiaparelli, are you serious? No, I would be like, let me turn on Only Murders in a Building on Hulu and let me watch that. But it's the job itself, the one that you have from 9 to 5, is draining. So you kind of have to like work twice as hard to create more content and everything, and that's tough. That's tough. I know a couple of people that do it, and they're like, I cannot wait to quit my day job. You come home drained. You're not thinking about like the beads on the Valentino, just. But that's the reality of it. But as far as goals go for right now, I don't have any goals, to be honest. But overall, it's a good job. The only bad thing is that like I'm not with
Your dog?
I'm not with my dog, and I know I'm crazy about my dog.
I know,
fully
I'm
aware.
same.
But it's a lot of like
4 days without him for Fashion Week. Like,
Yeah,
no, like I
and
want to go.
I'm gonna be away for like a month and a half.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
No.
like it's like I'm going back home on the 14th, and I'm home for like 9 days. Then I go to Paris, then Milan, then to Paris. Then I come back home. It's just the fact that like you miss being home.
Yes. The
like,
traveling is
the travel.
draining.
It's not easy, but still, it is the best job ever. So it's good.
Thank you
You
so
are very welcome.
much
Thank
for
you.
all
Thank
these
you all.
insights.